Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It is week one, back to football here in St. Louis. One player who will not be getting back to football is the three-time Pro Bowl safety Cam Chancellor of the Seahawks, holding out in a contract squabble. And for more, we head down to the field. The third member of our broadcast crew, Laura Oakman. Laura.
Hi, Kenny. Making his first start in his first regular season game, safety Dion Bailey has gotten a lot of advice this week, including from the man whose job he's taking today. Dion told me he texted with Cam this week, and I asked him, isn't that a weird dynamic? And he said, not if you know Cam. He may be taking care of business, but that doesn't change the love he has for this team. He told me, Cam told him, quote, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for you if you take advantage of it. With a huge smile on his face, Dion told me that's the plan, saying, I get to tell my kids one day I lined up next to future Hall of Famers Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas. It might happen 10 times or just this once. Either way, this is a life-changing moment. Kenny?
Thanks, Laura. Dion Bailey spent last season on the Seahawks practice squad. The Rams won the toss, elected to defer, so Greg Zuerlein will get things started. The rookie out of Kansas State who had a tremendous preseason, Tyler Lockett, is back deep for the Seahawks. And the 2015 regular season is underway. Lockett takes a knee, so Russell Wilson and the Seattle offense will start from the 20-yard line.
You see right there, Russell Wilson, 42 career wins in his first 3 seasons. That is, in my opinion, the main reason he got the contract that he got in the offseason. Statistically, he's up among some of the top players, but when you really talk about just winning football games, which is the #1 goal in the NFL, it's not about stats, it's championship, winning football games. I haven't seen anybody with the start that Russell Wilson has had to his career.
Seahawks 12-4 last season. Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. On first down, the handoff is to Lynch, and he gains a couple, wrapped up from behind by Chris Long, setting up second down and 8.
Obviously, one of the things we'll have our eyes on is that offensive line of the Seahawks. Drew Nowak gets the start at center, another converted defensive lineman, but you got 3 people in different spots to start the year. But the biggest thing we have to keep our eyes on, Jimmy Graham at tight end. Jeff Fisher said it's his biggest concern. He has no idea how Seattle's going to utilize him because they didn't show much in the preseason.
2 tight end set. Graham joined by Luke Wilson. Graham shifting to the left side. On second down and 8 from the 22, there is Graham, his first reception as a member of the Seahawks, and he's knocked out of bounds just shy of the marker. It will be third down and 1.
And you're not going to allow your defense to really lock into where Jimmy Graham is. He's going to be moved throughout the formation. That's what makes it so difficult to guard him. He's going to be able to line up in the slot, out wide, traditional tight end spot. All 11 guys have to have all their eyes on where number 88 is.
Graham gains 7. Seattle sends in a fullback, Derek Coleman. Coleman blocking for Lynch, and Lynch spins, picks up the first down. Good second effort. Rams having a hard time bringing him down, and Lynch takes it all the way out to the 39-yard line. Gain of 10.
Getting ready for this game, one of the most poignant comments I read was Pete Carroll talking about what's going on in the offensive line, what's wrong with the running game, and he said, listen, 24's only had 3 snaps. He makes everything look better when he's in the lineup, and this is the classic example to that point. I mean, he is unbelievable. I mean, look at the weight, just what he's carrying and supporting there with all those Ram defenders on.
Lynch to the sidelines, replaced by his good friend, the longtime Buffalo Bill, Fred Jackson. New set of downs for Seattle as Wilson hands it off to Jackson. Spent 8 years in Buffalo, and he is out to the 43-yard line for a gain of 4 as we check out the Rams defense.
And we're going to find out a lot about this Seattle offensive line because they're going up against one of the best fronts, and Aaron Donald, one of the best young players. Chris Long calls him the best inside tackle in the game of football. And to kind of counter Jimmy Graham, they've got 2 good safeties on the back end. Talked with Chuck Cecil before the game. We don't want to get in this a lot, but if we had to, we feel confident in TJ McDonald against Jimmy Graham.
Empty backfield. Fred Jackson split Wide to the left. Ready, go. On 2nd and 5. Wilson to the outside. It's Jackson. There is a flag. Jackson into Rams territory. Picks up a Seattle first down, a gain of 16. First penalty marker of the afternoon. Our referee today is Jeff Triplett.
Offside defense, number 97. That penalty is declined. It's over the play for first down.
And right away, we're seeing kind of an opened up offense, really challenging St. Louis in what they're doing. You're pounding Marshawn Lynch inside, but we've seen Jimmy Graham cross formation in motion. There was Fred Jackson lined up outside as your running back. So looking for matchups, one-on-ones across the board in these formations in the passing game.
Lynch in the backfield, 1st and 10 from the Rams 40. On first down, off the play action, Wilson is taken down at the line of scrimmage by Alec Ogletree.
And I really expected this to be more of the bootleg with the pass option out the backside, but Jimmy Graham is down the field blocking, and that's one of the issues with Russell Wilson. Eugene Sims is there, but he's so athletic. He's got such great start-stop, change of direction ability that even if you play your technique almost perfect, he has the ability to make you miss.
2nd down and 10. Quick release. This is Lockett. First NFL catch for Tyler Lockett. And he gained 7 down to the 33-yard line. 3rd-round pick, caught 106 passes for Kansas State last season.
And we got an opportunity early in preseason to see what he's going to bring as a returner with a big kickoff return and a punt return. But then a 63-yard touchdown catch in the finale. So what Tyler Lockett is going to bring in special teams, don't forget he's a very good route runner in the passing game as well.
Seahawks now facing a 3rd down and 3. Lynch uncovered. Now Ogletree comes over. Split wide to the left. Marshawn Lynch. Empty backfield for Seattle on 3rd down. Wilson connects with Doug Baldwin. He reaches, but it looks like he is just short of a first down.
One of the toughest wide receivers in the NFL. Doug Baldwin, just a class guy, leader of that wide receiver group for Seattle. They just do all the dirty work. They're on special teams. They're blocking downfield. And watch the effort right here to try and get this first down by Doug Baldwin.
Pete Carroll leaving his offense out on the field on 4th and short.
Think they're going to throw a slant?
On 4th down, it's the fullback Coleman, and he picks up a first.
A big sigh of relief comes out of the Pacific Northwest. It wasn't Lynch, but it was a run straight ahead. And what we're seeing right now is an offense from Seattle that's going to be very, very difficult for St. Louis this afternoon. I mean, we've seen pressure on the outside in one-on-one situations in the passing game. Marshawn Lynch, the traditional physical style of run. This offensive line, you can see why offensive line coach Tom Cable is excited about this group. They've played well so far.
They go forward on 4th down, pick up the first, 10th play of the drive, off the fake to Lynch. Wilson down, back at the 36-yard line. The Rams have had great success getting to Wilson in the past 3 seasons under Jeff Fisher.
And the beauty of what they do is they can get home with just their front 4, which allows them to drop 7 into coverage. Actually add a blitz right there with Mark Barron coming. So when you've got to hold that ball, and all those routes were down the field, there was not that little check down route that Russell Wilson, if he had pressure, could get to right away.
Aaron Donald with the sack, last year's defensive rookie of the year. Loss of 7. Thomas Rawls in the backfield. Takes the handoff from Wilson, the rookie out of Central Michigan. And Rawls gains 3 to the 34-yard line. Third down and 15 And Fisher telling his troops to move back along the sidelines.
Don't want to give him any extra yardage from the penalty.
Three receivers to the right. Seahawks must get to the 19 for a first down. And they
Play of game.
use too much time.
5-yard penalty, still third down.
And we're seeing a little bit right now with this offensive line going up against a very, very fast defensive line for the St. Louis Rams. I think they're going to be okay in the run game. And if the ball is going to be held, you're going to struggle. In the passing game here, in this environment inside, can get loud with a very fast front. That ball needs to come out a little bit quicker. Having some issues here late in this drive.
Big play, the sack by Aaron Donald. And now following the delay of game penalty, third down and 20 for Seattle. Lynch, nothing.
That's a great stand by the Rams defense. Seattle's offense had started this drive very efficiently, really spreading them out, running some power inside, and then that one sack just really ignited this group. You be the safe conservative play right here, hand the ball off, but you don't even get a field goal attempt on a drive that you'd gotten down inside the 30-yard line.
Right, they passed on a 49-yard attempt when they went for it on fourth down. And the sack. Don Ryan punting to Tavon Austin, fair catch at the 12-yard line. So the Rams defense holds. Big sack by Donald here in St. Louis.
Sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Back in St. Louis, Rams on offense for the first time. Nick Foles in his fourth season. Spent the prior three in Philadelphia. He was tremendous in 2013 when he threw 27 touchdowns, only 2 picks. Quiet in the deal for Sam Bradford. Low snap on first down. This is Tavon Austin, who's forced back, looking for running room. And he is tackled back at the 3-yard line by Bruce Irvin, a loss of 9.
I tell you, the speed and the pursuit and the lane integrity by this defense is something that is so difficult. You're trying to get the ball on the edge quick. Cliff Avrill's there first. Now you just got to get down when you're playing Seattle. Tavon Austin has got tremendous skill, tremendous speed, but this defense is so disciplined and so fast.
Second down and 19 for the Rams. Coming out of the end zone is Benny Cunningham, just able to get out. Michael Bennett brought him down. So it will be third and long.
I'm very, very lucky not to have a safety here. Michael Bennett just driving through. He's up high. That's the only reason. If he could have got down a little bit lower and stopped those legs from turning, that's a safety for the Seattle Seahawks. Great job. Arm over, penetrating through. Inside, outside, Michael Bennett is a beast to block.
Ball spotted inside the 1. Third down and 21. Movement prior to the snap.
False start for 68 offense. After the distance to the goal, still third down.
That's on the rookie left guard, Jamon Brown. Two rookie starters on the offensive line for the Rams. Brown and the right tackle, Rob Havenstein. Foles on the sneak. Gains a couple, so not what the Rams had in mind on their first offensive possession of the regular season.
Negative plays will kill you during the course of the game, and to start the game with a big loss that backs you up deep in your own end, all they're trying to do in that situation is give Johnny Hekker a little bit of room to execute this punt, because you've got Tyler Lockett sitting right at midfield, getting ready to field this.
There were 7 return touchdowns during preseason. Around the entire league, Lockett had 2 of the 7. There he goes. Tyler Lockett inside the 20, the the 10, the 5, touchdown.
That is unbelievable. Had an opportunity to visit with John Foshel, the special teams coach, and Jeff Fisher, who really embraces special teams here in St. Louis. They're well aware of Tyler Lockett, but I want you to watch what he does. When he's returning, when he catches the football, he is already moving at full speed. He's not catching it slow or on a stop and going. And he is north and south immediately. That's impressive because, you know, everybody was gearing up to try and go down and tackle Tyler Lockett, and he just ran it straight back.
A 57-yard return. So now Stephen Hauska for the 33-yard extra point attempt. Good defensive stand by the Seahawks. And then a special teams touchdown by the rookie, Tyler Lockett.
Game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
An explosive start for the Seahawks on special teams.
Unbelievable. I mean, you know about it, and I think what really happens, you're backed up, you want to kick directionally, you want to pin Tyler Lockett to the sideline. When you're backed up like that, you're going to let Johnny Hekker just boom the ball, and it backfired. And the St. Louis Rams last season gave up the most non-offensive touchdowns in the NFL. They start week 1 with another one.
Kickoff bounces into the end zone for a touchback. In the first quarter of his first NFL game, Tyler Lockett takes it 57 yards for the touchdown.
Today's game is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the entirely new Lincoln MKX. By Samsung, introducing the new Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus and the new Galaxy Note 5. And by DraftKings, free one-week fantasy football at DraftKings.com.
7-0 lead for the Seahawks here in St. Louis. Seattle had the longest current streak in the NFL without a punt return touchdown. 121 games since their last. Nate Burleson, 2007 in Cleveland. So now Foles and the Rams go to work. And it's a first down out to the 42-yard line for the tight end, Jared Cook, who's led St. Louis in receptions each of the last 2 years.
Well, you mentioned on that first drive, Kenny, 2 rookies starting for the St. Louis Rams, 1 of 2 teams along with Tampa Bay. And really the big issue here right now early in the season, first-round draft pick Todd Gurley still not ready. Trey Mason inactive today. The running game leans on the shoulders of Benny Cunningham, Isaiah Peed. We'll see how that pans out for the Rams.
Cook gains 22 on first down from the 42-yard line. Cunningham able to gain 4 out to the 46 as we check in for the first time with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles. Kurt.
All right, Kenny, remember the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have a wide receiver score a touchdown all last year? They still have it. Their tight end Travis Kelce catches that with Alex Smith. 10 yards on the score. They are up 7-0 in Houston. Kenny moves from Laura.
All right, thanks very much, Kurt. Here in St. Louis, a 7-0 lead for the Seahawks. A special teams touchdown. Foles out of the shotgun on 2nd and 6, wrapped up, and down he goes. It is Michael Bennett with the Seattle sack.
We saw him down deep in the end when he almost had the safety coming from the defensive tackle position. Here he's going to come inside right here to get to Nick Foles on the sack. So Michael Bennett, I mean, when you come up as an offensive line, all right, where's 72? Is he inside? Is he outside? He's very, very quick on that first step.
He's averaged 8 sacks per season over the last 3. Split backs, 3rd down and 15. Foles to Cunningham. Across midfield, and Benny Cunningham picks up a St. Louis Rams first down. He needed 15 and he gained 17.
I like the decision by Nick Foles, because sometimes you'll see quarterbacks that want to press the ball down the field. When you're in a 3rd and long situation, there's nothing there. Have the confidence in your underneath patterns. Just dump it down to Benny Cunningham and let's see if he can break a tackle and get that first down. Exactly what he does.
You mentioned the Rams without both the rookie Todd Gurley and Trey Mason. So Cunningham getting the start today. From the Seahawks 46. Play action. Foles with time. Fires downfield to the end zone. Pass intended for Tavon Austin. Richard Sherman on the coverage.
And this is why Jeff Fisher is very excited about having Nick Foles. He's got the big arm from the pocket, and I think you're going to have the opportunity as Rams fans to see Tavon Austin, to see Chris Givens and Stedman Bailey down the field. They will stretch it and go after it vertically. Richard Sherman there seems like a little bit early, hand up. Easily could have been called pass interference in the end zone.
Instead, second down and 10. Foles setting up the screen. Cunningham breaks free. And Benny Cunningham has another Rams first down inside the Seattle 35, a gain of 11.
And I wonder if you talk about this during your preparation in the week. All right, we're going to run screens against Seattle, but this screen may have to happen a little bit faster because this D-line is going to be on the quarterback. Nick Foles has got to get rid of it quick. Fortunately, Benny Cunningham has his head around and is able to make that catch. And again, breaking some tackles and getting some extra yards.
Cunningham out. Isaiah Pete in the backfield. On first down, this is Pete, and he's met for a loss by Cassius Marsh.
And a very similar matchup to keep an eye on. A very quick, very athletic, very deep defensive line for the Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be tough for that young offensive line of the St. Louis Rams. And as Laura talked about it, Deion Bailey in the lineup for Cam Chancellor, who is still in the middle of his holdout.
Seahawks with the number 1 ranked defense a season ago. Time winding down in his first quarter. Second down and 11. Cook in motion. Off the fake to Pede. Foles to the outside. Wide open is the tight end Jared Cook. 20-yard pass play.
Jared Cook, very athletic. He was a concern of the Seattle Seahawks. There he goes in motion. He crosses, but guess what? The defense doesn't pick him up. Kind of turn him loose right there. He's outside on that route down the sideline. If that ball is out in front, Jared Cook might be able to get in there for a touchdown.
2 receptions, 42 yards for Cook as the first quarter comes to an end. Special teams touchdown for the Seahawks, but now the Rams are on the move. We start the second quarter in St. Louis. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Laura Oakman, Nick Foles in his first start as a St. Louis Ram.
And the one incomplete could have been a pass interference in the end zone on Richard Sherman, stretching the field vertically. You see why all the Rams are excited about the addition of Nick Foles.
Tavon Austin in the backfield, lines up behind Foles, and he gives it to Austin using his speed. Tavon Austin is in. Touchdown!
And this is one of the things you have to do to combat the speed of a defensive front. Seattle's defensive front to start this game, one of the fastest I have ever seen. So what do? Screens, misdirection, change the pocket. Recognize that you've got Tavon Austin in the backfield. Nice job by Jared Cook sealing the end of line and allowing Tavon Austin to get around the corner and then into the end zone.
His 4th career rushing touchdown. Here is Greg Zuerlein, his first 33-yard extra point in the regular season. We are tied at 7. So the Rams, after a poor opening drive, march downfield, and Austin takes it in from 16 yards out. Here are the 2 guys who have reached the end zone today.
Yeah, a lot of times when we're doing a game, we talk about the big guys up front, and size is one of the things that we always look at. Here's a couple guys, both under 6 foot tall. Tavon Austin only listed at 5'8", but if you're not big, you need to be fast, and both of those guys, just incredible speed, and the stress and the pressure they can put on a defense or a special teams group is very impressive.
Lockett listed at 5'10". He is back deep for Seattle. Takes it a yard deep in the end zone. And this time Lockett is taken down shy of the 20. Some extracurricular activity. Bradley Marquez, the special team stop for the Rams. Tied at 7.
On Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by Black Mass from Warner Brothers Pictures. In theaters everywhere September 18th.
Big way to the West. It's an NFC West matchup. Rams have won 2 of the last 3 from the Seahawks here in St. Louis. And for Seattle, this is only their second offensive possession. They drove 12 plays, 45 yards in the first quarter. Passed on a 49-yard field goal attempt. Went for it on 4th down, but then a big sack. And now Marshawn Lynch is bottled up. Aaron Donald, the first Ram in to meet Lynch. Once again to Los Angeles. Game break. Kurt Menefee.
Well, with all their injuries at wide receivers, the Green Bay Packers re-signed James Jones after a year in Oakland just this week and pays dividends already. First touchdown of the season for the Packers from Aaron Rodgers at 7-3 at Chicago. Can you move some more?
Jones is in training camp with the New York Giants. Now back in Green Bay.
Great break for the Packers being able to pick up James Jones.
2nd down and 13 for the Seahawks. 3 receivers to the left. Wilson sets up the screen. It's Lynch. And Lynch is tackled at the 17-yard line.
I tell you, both of these defenses, if you're a running back or a wide receiver with the ball in your hands, you better be sure you've got it tucked away. These guys are coming from everywhere, and they are not stopping. Michael Brockers recognizes screen right away. Look at the pursuit all the way down the line of scrimmage to help out his buddies. You know you've got Marshawn Lynch trying to get out into the open field. You got to get as many bodies as you can to get him tackled.
Rams defensive coordinator Greg Williams. His unit will try and stop the Seahawks on 3rd down and 12. Wilson with a sidearm sling to Baldwin. And the Seahawks forced to punt it away. They go 3 and out. There is a flag, however.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 94 in the defense. Contact to the head and neck area.
Coming off the edge, Robert
15
Quinn.
yards after the automatic first down.
I don't agree with that call. I want to see it again. We can roll that back one more time and see right at the end. I think that Robert Quinn is down in the shoulder area, and it looks like Aaron Donald's hand kind of comes up a little bit. I think that's a missed call by Kirk Triplett right there. They happen quick. You're going to see, let's watch that shoulder, right? It's down low. It's not in the head. It's not in the head and neck. And then the hand comes up. I don't agree with the call. If it was late, if you wanted to call it late, I would agree with that, but I don't agree with the call and the way that they made it.
We'll bring in Mike Pereira from Los Angeles. Mike, what did you see?
I couldn't agree with you more on that. You get contact of the shoulder, maybe slight contact of the head, but it's incidental. It's got to be forcible contact of the head, and I didn't see that at all.
All right, thanks very much, Mike. New set of downs for the Seahawks from the 32. This is Lynch on the handoff from Wilson. Ball came loose, but Lynch pounces on it.
That's a big penalty call, too, because that was 3rd down, and the Rams had made the stop, and here's an extra set of downs for this Seattle offense.
And Mike Pereira agreed with you, Darryl, that the hit was to the shoulder area of Wilson from Robert Quinn, not the head or neck.
Yeah, and it's got to be forcible, too, if it's up that way. If it's that hand or that arm, forearm, it's got to be a forcible blow to the head. It can't be incidental, like Mike said.
3 receivers set. 2nd down and 6. Low snap. Wilson able to hand it off, but there is a flag. False start, Seattle.
False start. Number 64 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's on the right guard, J.R. Sweezy.
Nice job by Russell Wilson right there, relying some of his old baseball skills right there to field the short hop.
We saw the sidearm throw a moment ago. He's talked to us about how some of those baseball fundamentals have helped him on the football field. Three receivers to the left. Second down and 11 as Wilson escapes and takes off and is pushed out of bounds by Trumaine Johnson. About 4 yards shy of a first down as Wilson gains 7.
Great recognition by Rodney McLeod early. Russell Wilson wants to get this out to his left very quickly. 23, Rodney McLeod is going to drop down, take that away. Now it's Russell Wilson on the outside ad-libbing, which is very dangerous to a lot of defenses. So credit Trumaine Johnson with the ability to get Russell Wilson out of bounds in the open field.
So now 3rd down and 4. Seahawks empty the backfield. Everybody out. As Wilson's pass is picked off by Trumaine Johnson. A diving interception by Johnson. So the Seahawks turn it over for the first time.
As a corner, you have to trust your preparation, trust your instincts, and if you've got an opportunity to make a play on the ball, make a play on the ball. Lynch outside, going to run the hitch. He jumps that early. That's a throw that Russell Wilson should not have made. And let me tell you, something fun on that play that was happening away from it, that was a blitz with James Laurinaitis looping to the defensive left, and Aaron Donald, the defensive tackle, dropped out, and guess who he drew in coverage? Jimmy Graham. He was running step for step with Jimmy Graham on an in route.
9th career interception for Johnson. He led the Rams with 3 last year. And the Rams take over on the Seattle 26. Off the fake to Cunningham, there is a flag. This is Austin, who has the St. Louis touchdown.
Talked about Tavon Austin's speed. There's Bobby Wagner, the middle linebacker, kind of matching that in pursuit, step for step with it.
Defense, number 72, line up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's Michael Bennett, 3rd Seattle penalty.
And they get a lot of those. They get those neutral zone infractions, offsides, because they are always pressing. They're always wanting to come forward.
Seahawks committed the most penalties in the entire league last season. And the Rams were 3rd.
Two aggressive styles, 2 aggressive coaching styles.
5 so far today. Here's Cunningham up the middle. Run around by KJ Wright. Rams went backwards on their first possession and then a 9-play, 80-yard touchdown drive. Second down and 1. It's Cunningham. And Benny Cunningham has a Rams first down to the Seahawks 14-yard line.
Benny Cunningham is one of those guys that you have to have on your roster. We talked about Todd Gurley out, Trey Mason inactive today. Benny Cunningham, one of your backup running backs, a core special teams guy. We've seen him make some nice plays in the passing game, extending him, getting some extra yards, and real physical running here the last couple of plays.
Stephen Bailey in the slot, 3 receivers set. Give to Cunningham. And he works his way down to the 11-yard line, brought down by Bobby Wagner. Mentioned the 2 running backs who are out today. Ryan Quick, 4th-year receiver, inactive as well. Quick coming off back and shoulder surgery, missed the last 9 games last season. There is Gurley, the first-round pick out of Georgia. In the background, second down and 7. Wilson in the slot. Off the fake to Cunningham. Foles dumps it off. And Cunningham is brought down at the 7. There is a penalty marker.
Holding, number 73 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
That's on the left tackle, Greg Robinson, the second overall pick last year.
A fun matchup here this afternoon. That's Chris Richard. He's your new defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously losing Gus Bradley a couple of years ago, head coach of Jacksonville. Lost Dan Quinn last year down to Atlanta. And it was funny talking to Pete Carroll, and there's Frank Signetti, the offensive coordinator for the St. Louis Rams. So a couple of first-time coordinators here duking it out in this matchup this afternoon.
Second down at 18. That's a tough pass into traffic made by Foles.
Yeah, you're as a quarterback, you're afforded the opportunity in that situation to just kind of throw the ball away towards the screen. And I think Benny Cunningham would have appreciated if Nick Foles had done that.
Only the second incompletion for Foles today. So it is third down and 18 for St. Louis.
See the respect they have for Jared Cook. That's Richard Sherman lined up on Jared Cook.
Balls to Stedman Bailey. He's down at the 15-yard line, so the Rams will send out the field goal unit.
You kind of look at the receiving core for the St. Louis Rams. They're all kind of undersized speed guys, and here's your big athletic tight end. You put him out in the slot, so Richard Sherman's going to line up on him, pass him off. Come back down, trying to jump that underneath route.
So now Zuerlein will attempt a 33-yard field goal. This is the equivalent of an extra point. From the left hash, Johnny Hecker places it down, and Zuerlein's kick is straight through. So the Rams have their first lead of the day, 10-7 St. Louis. Week 1 continues later today on CBS, then tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tune in tomorrow for a Monday Night Football doubleheader on ESPN. We are back to football, Week 1. Rams lead the Seahawks 10-7.
Oh, that wasn't football we were watching in the preseason?
Back to regular season football.
Come on, you can go down that road.
Well, Lockett did it in the preseason and again here in the regular season. Lockett with a 57-yard punt return touchdown earlier today. Takes it out across the 30, a 35-yard return by Lockett.
On Fox is sponsored by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football.
The most unique voice in sports is back on the air. The one and only Colin Cowherd is now on FS1. Finally, Smart Sports Talk is back. The Herd with Colin Cowherd, weekdays at noon Eastern only on FS1. And we saw Colin join the guys earlier today on Fox NFL Sunday.
Absolutely excited to have Colin in the Fox family.
We also welcome Cooper Manning to the Fox family. Sat down with Drew Brees earlier today.
That is one funny guy. I'm looking forward to that segment each week.
Here's Lynch. And now you know where Eli and Peyton got it from, as we've seen them in various commercials through the years.
The hidden talents. My son goes to the Manning camp every year, and the highlight is not meeting Peyton and Eli and all the other guys that Peyton brings in. It's actually getting an opportunity to visit with Cooper Manning and his sense of humor during the days they spend there.
Second down and 9 from the 32-yard line. Wilson to the far side, taken up to the 40-yard line. That's Chris Matthews, his first regular season reception. He had 4 in the Super Bowl. For the Seahawks today, Just over 3 yards per play on offense, but how about the return game?
And that's the addition of Tyler Lockett. That's just another weapon that this team will have as they play field position and do all the different things that they do to try and play that Seahawks style of football.
3rd down and 1. It's Lynch. And again, the second effort for Marshawn Lynch picks up a Seahawks 1st down.
He's just as good as anybody I have ever seen. And you go back and watch highlights and you'll see Jim Brown after contact, Larry Zonka after contact, guys through the history of this league. Marshawn Lynch may be the best. I mean, that run early in the first quarter where he's got 6 St. Louis Ram defenders on top of him, and yet that whole pile is still moving. It looks like an anthill that he's moving down the field. It's just unbelievable how he is after contact.
4 consecutive seasons with over 1,200 yards on the ground. And the play is blown dead with the play clock winding down. Jeff Triplett heading over for a chat with Rams head coach Jeff Fisher.
St. Louis is challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was down by contact.
Well, Triplett will take a look at the last play. We'll be back. Rams challenge the last play. Here's Jeff Triplett.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. St. Louis is charged their first challenge and their first timeout.
Again, we check in with Mike Pereira. Mike, what did you see on that play?
I agree, and what he's saying when he says that it stands, it means that they couldn't conclusively prove that it was a fumble, because had it been a fumble and then the question of clear recovery came into the picture, then he would have announced that. So they felt in New York that they didn't get a clear enough look to see that the knee was not on the ground.
All right, thanks, Mike. And Jeff Triplett, of course, communicating with Dean Blandino and or Alberto Riveron in the New York office on replay reviews. Wilson complete. It's Lockett. Lockett to midfield for a gain of 7.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here from Seattle, challenging them with Tyler Lockett and his speed on the outside. We haven't seen him come back to Jimmy Graham in a while. That first drive when they were really kind of firing on all cylinders was a great mix of Marshawn Lynch in the running game and that new offensive line up front coming off the ball. They got into the passing game, and we had some kind of one-on-one scenarios on the outside to work that edge, but haven't really seen him get back to Jimmy Graham.
Rams medical staff out to check on Trumaine Johnson, who had an interception of Russell Wilson earlier in the second quarter. Trumaine Johnson headed back to the Rams locker room. Missed the first 8 games last season with a knee injury. Johnson replaced by second-year corner Marcus Roberson. With just over 5 minutes remaining, second quarter. In St. Louis, Rams lead the Seahawks 10-7.
Yeah, thin at corner right now with E.J. Gaines out for the season, so that trickle-down effect of an injury at the top, everybody gets bumped up. So right now, Seattle can get into that multiple wide receiver set and challenge this secondary to try and match up.
Three receivers for the Seahawks. Wilson is 7 for 8. His only incompletion was the interception by Johnson. Wilson steps up, shovel pass to Lynch, who has a first down. Marshawn Lynch to the St. Louis 43. Ogletree the tackle. Time for a game break to Los Angeles. And Mike Hill. Mike.
All right, guys, Browns, Jets, Josh McCown being evaluated for a concussion. Look who's in the game. Johnny Manziel, his first career TD pass, 54 yards to Travis Benjamin. Chris Ivory is answered with a 10-yard run. It's tied to 7 in the second. Kenny Moose, back to you.
All right, thanks, Mike. Former Rams quarterback Austin Davis, now the third-string quarterback in Cleveland, behind McCown and Manziel. This is Rawls, his second carry, and he gains 4 down to the 39-yard line. Laurinaitis, the tackle.
Yeah, a guy that Pete Carroll really likes, Thomas Rawls, and Robert Turbin was put on IR and then released, and then Christian Michael down in the Dallas Cowboy roster right now, and here's a young guy who Pete Carroll really loves. His commitment to the run. You're in that zone scheme, you've got to hit things, and sometimes it doesn't look great. We see what Marshawn Lynch does, and I think he sees a little bit of that from Thomas Rawls.
Turbin now in Cleveland as well. Second down and 6. Wilson fires. Pass intended for Jermaine Kearse. It bounced away from him.
Janoris Jenkins makes a nice break on this. He's probably a little bit upset with himself that he didn't make a better play on the ball. Coming from the outside, recognizes that slant, gets across. Now, everybody's going to say, hey, that looks like pass interference. He got there before the ball did. He has a right to that path as long as it's shoulder-to-shoulder contact on the side. He's not coming through the back of Jermaine Kearse, then it's legal.
Third down and 6. Seahawks must get to the 33 for a first down. Empty backfield. Wilson in trouble on third down, and he is sacked for the second time. LaMarcus Joyner.
And they came from both edges, and one of the things that you're going to do, I mean, Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, is aggressive to begin with. But if you've got an offensive line that's young and starting out together, you're going to put a little bit of pressure on them. And there's Mark Barron coming from the right and LaMarcus Joyner coming in from the left side.
There is a flag with Austin back deep.
Illegal formation, kicking team. Number 40 is not up on the line of scrimmage. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play at the 20-yard line. First down, St. Louis.
So the Rams will take over. They lead by 3. And during the recent history between the Seahawks and the Rams, so many key plays on special teams. That's how the Seahawks scored their touchdown today, but the Rams have taken over the momentum.
They really have, and you have to credit them for kind of hanging in there. Seattle came out and really started the game well. A very nice drive, then they stalled at the end of that, and then it was a tough start for the Rams, but they've hung in there. But these are great football games, and I think one of the things with Jimmy Graham and Nick Foles being added to this rivalry, I think everybody knew what to expect offense or defensively, and then even special teams. But the offense was going to be the big question mark, what we were going to have this afternoon.
So now Nick Foles and the Rams take over following the punt and the penalty from their 25-yard line. Cunningham bottled up. We saw the Rams defense lose Tremaine Johnson during the last series. We check in with Laura.
And you talked about how much he missed a big chunk of last season with the knee injury. Right now he is in the locker room being evaluated for concussion, Kenny.
All right, thanks very much, Laura. 2.5 remaining, second quarter. Seahawks struck first. Rams with 10 points here in the second quarter. Foles connects with Cook. And Jared Cook hurdles out to the 29-yard line.
That was nice hustle by K.J. Wright, because if Jared Cook is able to split that and keep his feet, that could be a long run.
We have hit the 2-minute warning in St. Louis, where the Rams lead the Seahawks by 3. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Rams lead the Seahawks 10-7. 2 minutes remaining, second quarter. Third down and 5 for Nick Foles and the Rams. Foles backpedaling, he throws, and Kenny Britt slipped. So the Rams will punt it back to the Seahawks.
Both defenses really starting to challenge these offensive lines. Ball has to come out quick, and it's just a little bit behind. Sometimes you don't get to the quarterback, but you can impact his throw. Got a lot of twists, and a linebacker added to the pressure there. Makes Nick Foles get rid of the ball a little bit quicker than he wanted.
Lockett back deep. His first punt return went for 57 yards and a touchdown. This time Hecker angles it out of bounds. So no opportunity for Lockett this time. Let's take a look at what's coming up on the Visa Halftime Report.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, the Chiefs show J.J. Watt and the Texans some hard knocks. Andrew Luck and the Colts off to a slow start in Buffalo. And Johnny Manziel not only plays, but does something he's never done before. It's all coming up on the Visa Halftime.
All right, Kurt, we look forward to it.
There's another way that Tyler Lockett will impact the kicking game as the season moves forward. You're going to try and directionally kick to keep that ball away from him, which gives you the potential to have a couple of shank kicks. That was only a 35-yard net by Johnny Hecker.
Didn't take long, only the second punt of the season.
Yeah. Well, the first one didn't go so well either.
Fred Jackson in the backfield. Following the short kick, Seahawks start from their 35-yard line. As Wilson fires wide open to Jermaine Kearse. He picks up a first down and more. He's finally knocked out of bounds by Janoris Jenkins after gaining 28. And now the Seahawks in a hurry-up mode.
One of the things we saw last season were receivers wide open in the secondary of the St. Louis Rams. We saw it again right there. You had two defenders go to the flat route and left Jermaine Kearse wide open.
Remember, the Rams are without Jermaine Johnson, evaluated for a potential concussion. Roberson, number 47, still in at right corner. Wilson to the outside. And again, it is Kearse, Jenkins, and Ogletree knocked him down. Gain of only 2, second down and 8. Wilson to Baldwin. And Baldwin stopped just shy of the marker.
And now we're getting into that part of the field where really Jimmy Graham becomes a very difficult matchup. That red zone area, that big radius for a target for Russell Wilson.
He hands it off to Jackson, who picks up the first down. Only one catch for Jimmy Graham so far today. We are under 1 minute remaining, and the Seahawks have all 3 of their timeouts. Clock continues to run down to 35 seconds. From the 26 of St. Louis. Seahawks will take a timeout here as Quinn takes down Wilson with 24 seconds remaining.
And that's the biggest fear that the Rams had about Russell Wilson. When he extends, and he extends out to his left, Tyler Lockett down the field on the outside, getting covered up by the safeties. They know where he is on the top side. You've got your 3 receivers going out. You're not going to let Jimmy Graham get away from you down here. A huge red light once you get to this part of the field. But I like the controlled rush. And I'm not saying that you're going to go not as fast as you normally would. But when that play broke down and Russell Wilson started to move to his left, which is one of the things the Rams were concerned about, they really kind of came at him. They really got better with their approach angles coming in and came to balance. They've impacted him today. That's a lot of pressure put on by this Rams defense.
26 seconds remaining, 2 timeouts for Seattle. That last play officially a sack. Second down and 11. Wilson to the outside, it's Lockett. Lockett able to get out of bounds. Just inside the 16-yard line.
So you get the first down and also get out of bounds. He is so quick.
Gain of 12, quieting the crowd. Down to 22 seconds. Three receivers to the left. Graham, slot to the right. Lynch in the backfield. Wilson throws. This is Kurtz. And now the Seahawks will use their second timeout with 15 seconds remaining. So one timeout remaining for Seattle. Next Saturday, it's a full day of college football across the Fox network, starting as Tulsa tries to topple 19th-ranked Oklahoma on FS1, followed by UTSA and Oklahoma State. Then a clash between Cal and Texas on Fox. In the nightcap, BYU squares off against 13th-ranked UCLA back on FS1. It's coming up Saturday on your home for college football, Fox and FS1. Seahawks now with one timeout remaining, 15 seconds on the clock. Graham split wide to the right. Matthews slot to the right. The big receiver. Second down and 5 from the St. Louis 10. Wilson in trouble. Moving to his right, a pump fake, heading for the sidelines, and he's out of bounds at the 7 with 8 seconds remaining.
I think Russell Wilson had Jimmy Graham early in this. He's out wide, but he's actually going to run an in route. He's going to have the inside receiver go through. A little bit right there, but Russell pulls it down, and Akeem Harris does a nice job here, number 56. He doesn't buy the pump fake, just continues to pursue the quarterback, forces Russell Wilson out of bounds.
Luke Wilson in as a second tight end. Graham, slot to the right. Third down and 2 off the fake to Lynch. Wilson throws, and it's Lynch at the 5-yard line. So now the Seahawks with 4 seconds remaining. Ruled an incomplete pass. So it will be 4th down.
Marshawn Lynch carried that just a little bit too far, was out of bounds, didn't give himself enough field to get his feet down.
So the Seahawks send out the field goal unit. Steven Hauska. 5th season in Seattle. This will be a 25-yard attempt. Up the right hash. And a penalty marker. Again, triplet over for a chat with Jeff Fisher.
Delay of game offense. That penalty's declined. It will still be 4th down.
Pete Carroll asking the officials to pump the play clock. Seahawks took too much time. Well, 25-yard attempt from the right hash. Hauska's kick from 25 yards out is good as the first half comes to an end. Week 1, St. Louis Rams, Seattle Seahawks are tied at 10 as we head to Los Angeles for the Visa halftime report. Tied at 10 in St. Louis. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan. That was today's excitement, brought to you by Nissan as we get set for the second half here in St. Louis with the Rams and Seahawks tied at 10. And over the last 3 years, ever since Jeff Fisher took over as head coach of the Rams, 3 close games between these teams in this building. More of the same today.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that we're 10-10 at half, but we came into the game wanting to find out how Jimmy Graham was going to impact the Seattle Seahawks offense. I don't think we learned a lot in the first half. A couple opportunities in red zone situations, but really nothing yet. The one big surprise, Tyler Lockett has not disappointed. Very exciting in special teams, very exciting as a wide receiver with a couple of catches there. Nick Foles for the St. Louis Rams. I really think that this is going to be something positive. Now, stability at the quarterback position has been key in the Sam Bradford era. Sam Bradford was hurt the majority of his career. If Nick Foles can stay healthy, you can see why this offense has gravitated to him so quickly.
A look at the first half numbers. 3 sacks for the Rams defense. Second half kickoff taken out by Isaiah Pede, who missed all of last season with a knee injury. So the Rams will start from their 15 as we check in with Laura.
Okay, guys, I asked Pete Carroll about why we haven't seen a lot of Jimmy Graham. I said, you and Russell were so excited about unwrapping this paper. Why haven't we seen him? And he said, a lot of reasons, but not because we're not trying. I said, does that mean you're going to try a little bit harder and a little bit more in the second half? He said, we're going to keep doing what we're doing with our game plan, just not as sloppy. He said, the biggest thing is start running the ball to get the rhythm going. Pete Carroll's so happy with the way that defense has been getting the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands so quickly. He said, we got to keep him off the edge. I said to him, this is a very conventional first half for you. He said, we only have punted twice. A little ominous.
All right, thanks, Laura. Talking about Jeff Fisher and what we have seen in the past on special teams. Pass is caught by Stedman Bailey, who was involved in one of those big special teams plays against the Seahawks here last season, and Bailey gains 29.
Nice play design by Frank Cignetti, because there's a lot of stuff going on. You've got the end around coming. You've got all your defense looking there. Now watch Stedman Bailey come open right there just at the 33-yard line. But the key to this is Nick Foles' courage in the pocket. He knows he's going to get hit. It's a great play design. It's one of those ones you're waiting to have called during the course of the game because it's a big play opportunity. He stands in the pocket and takes a big hit.
From the 45 on first down, it's Cunningham, and he loses a couple.
Great discipline by Seattle's defense, especially in that front. That allows Kerry Williams to come in from the side in his run support to make that tackle. And Chris Richard told us, he goes, we don't do a lot, but the thing that's really hard is it's in the technique, it's in the attention to detail. That's where our defense gets complicated. But from a scheme standpoint, we're relatively simple, but you've got to have all those guys buying into making sure they're doing their job.
Kerry Williams and Nick Foles, teammates in Philadelphia the last 2 seasons. Second down and 12. Foles could not handle the snap. There is a flag as players try to get to the bottom of the pile. Now the Seahawks have recovered. Remember, there was a penalty flag thrown.
Illegal motion. Number 5, the offense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a first down.
First Rams turnover. Seahawks will take over.
Nick Foles is not ready for this snap. Tim Barnes snaps it, and it gets on him quick. He wasn't ready. It looks like he was about ready to audible. Had a second shot at it, but couldn't get a hold of it. His kind of eyes were looking up. Then he's got his eyes off, and here comes the snap.
So the Seahawks take over at the Rams 39. St. Louis still without Jermaine Johnson. Replaced by Marcus Roberson at right corner. This is Lynch looking for a lane. Wilson blocking, pushes Roberson out of the way. And Lynch is finally spun down by Ogletree after a gain of 5.
Greg Williams really raved about Alec Ogletree and his offseason and how much better he looks this season. But I think Marshawn Lynch wanted to throw this one. You see, he loses ground a little bit there, gets ready to throw. You had your receivers going down the field. And there's the competitor, Russell Wilson. You're not going to see a lot of A lot of quarterbacks downfield mixing it up with the defense on a broken play.
Second down and 5. Seahawks look to capitalize on the first Rams turnover of the day. This is Lynch. Lynch just stopped just shy of the marker. It'll be third down and 1.
I think that's another reason that there wasn't a lot of concern from the Seahawks in that preseason with their running game, because they weren't allowed to run that zone read that we've seen several times here today.
Seahawks did not huddle up. Quickly back to the line. Wilson hands it off to Lynch, who has a first down and more inside the 20 to the Rams' 18-yard line. Rodney McLeod finally brought him down after a 13-yard pickup.
And they come right back to that zone read play, and you're not going to run this in preseason and expose your lead back and your quarterback to any extra hits. So, you didn't see that a lot in the preseason for Seattle, but a big play right there.
Baldwin in the slot. Wilson on first down, steps up, throws. It's Curse. Remain Curse tackled at the 9-yard line by Rodney McLeod.
Staying up-tempo on this drive.
Second down and 1. 3 receivers set. Baldwin slot to the right. On second down, it's Lynch. And he will not get there. Gene Sims along with William Hayes combined to bring down Marshawn Lynch. Remember, the Seahawks were in the red zone late in the second quarter, held to 3. They now face third down and 2. Lockett split out to the right. Graham shifting. Wilson from the shotgun on third down. Rolling right. He throws. The catch is made by Graham, but he is upended by T.J. McDonald, and he is shy of the first down marker.
And again, it's just the speed on both of these defenses. Jimmy Graham looks like he's got plenty of room, and he's going to be able to turn this upfield and get the first down. Watch the closing speed by this defense. I mean, T.J. McDonald gets there first. You've got LaMarcus Joyner there to clean up so Jimmy Graham can't fall forward for anything.
Only the second catch by Graham today. His forearm was down before the ball came out. So now Hauska setting up from 27 yards out. And his kick is good, but the Rams defense for the second straight possession hold the Seahawks to just a field goal in the red zone.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Hyundai, an official sponsor of the NFL. By Burger King. Try our Oreo Red Velvet Shake. Now you can have your cake and drink it too. And by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Back in St. Louis, early third quarter. Seahawks with a 3-point lead following a Nick Foles botched snap. Seahawks capitalized, 7 plays, 30 yards. Hauska 27-yard field goal. And now the Rams will get the ball back. Isaiah P. back deep. Hauska's kickoff will not be brought out by Pete, so Foles and the Rams will start from their 20 when we return. Seahawks lead by 3 as the chess match continues between the first-year coordinators.
Yeah, it's been fun. They've done a nice job here today. Impressed with both groups, both battles. I mean, it's been awesome. And it's kind of interesting. One is up in the booth, one is down on the field. Kind of different perspectives.
From the 20, play action on first down. Foles throws. The catch is made for a first down out across the 35-yard line to the 37. It's Kenny Britt. We had a look at both Chris Richard and Frank Signetti a moment ago. They've both been with their respective teams.
Both very complimentary to the support they've gotten from everybody on their staffs. Frank Cignetti and his offensive group, Chris Richard and his defensive group.
This is Austin, who has the Rams touchdown. Richard, as you mentioned, replaced Dan Quinn, now the head coach in Atlanta. Cignetti, as a flag is thrown after the play. Cignetti, the former quarterbacks coach here in St. Louis, replacing Brian Schottenheimer, now the offensive coordinator at the University of Georgia. Frank in the middle. That's Jeff Garcia.
Personal foul.
To his
Unnecessary roughness. Number 77, defense. 15 yards added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
That's on a top of Rubin after the play.
Little extra as he leaves the tackle. Sometimes these divisional rivalries can get heated, but you've got to maintain your composure out there on the field. Chris Richard won't be happy with that. You don't want to give up free yardage. It's a tight game. They're always tight when they're played here in St. Louis against Seattle. Don't give anything cheap.
Rams in Seahawks territory from the Seattle 48 following the penalty. As Foles steps up, takes off, and then slides to the 40-yard line. So we saw Jeff Garcia a moment ago, the longtime NFL quarterback, hired as an offensive assistant. Chris Wenke, the ex-Heisman Trophy winner, is the new quarterback's coach. So there's Garcia up in the box in between Cignetti and
Chuck
former
Cecil.
defensive back Chuck Cecil.
So if Coach Garcia needs any information on what's going on out there defensively, you can just kind of poke Chuck Cecil. And I've had a lot of people ask me, who are some of the hardest hits you've ever taken throughout your NFL career? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that man right there has 2 of the top 5.
Wow. 2 of the top 5.
2 of the top 5.
Second and 1, here's Cunningham. And Cunningham picks up a Rams first down to the Seahawks 32.
Again, we talked about Benny Cunningham in the first half. Just one of those guys, hey, what do you need from me, coach? I'll do anything, all the special teams. And Trey Mason can't make it back today. He's got that hamstring. And you lean on Benny Cunningham to jump in there, and he's provided some good production here for this Rams offense in the running game and the passing game.
Set of downs for the Rams midway through the third quarter. Off the fake to Cunningham. Foles fires. Wide open is the tight end Cook again. Yard pass play.
We touched on a play earlier this half where Nick Foles stood in the pocket and delivered a pass down the field knowing he was going to take a hit. Here's another one. Courage in the pocket, underrated by a lot of people. And here's the route, a little corner route with Kenny Britt going vertical. Right there, you see him clear out that zone. Jared Cook finds that void. Earl Thomas a little late getting over.
With all the talk about Jimmy Graham coming into this game, among tight ends, it's been the Jared Cook show today. 4 receptions, 77 yards. First and goal from the 2. There is a flag as Cunningham is forced back.
That's one of the things you have to recognize on film. Benny Cunningham has to watch Seattle and know that it's going to be hard to come to a complete stop and cut back.
Defense, number 72. Line up in the neutral zone. Half the distance will go. Repeat first down.
That's on Bennett.
There was a healthy respect for Jared Cook, Kenny, and you see right there, you just brought that up. You can see the production. Jared Cook's having the better day this afternoon.
Rams send in number 71, Garrett Reynolds, as an extra blocker. On first and goal from the 1. Play action, Foles will take it in himself for the Rams touchdown.
It's funny, there's a natural leadership element to the quarterback position, but I think what Nick Foles accomplished here in St. Louis, for everybody on the offense to kind of embrace him and really accept him as their leader as quickly as they did, I think he's shown you several reasons why. We've seen him stand in the pocket, take a couple of big hits, very decisive in that situation. You've got Bobby Wagner coming from inside out, one of the fastest side-to-side linebackers in the NFL. Nick Foles makes the quick decision. He's got that natural thing about him that players will gravitate towards.
Jeff Fisher told us he has never had a quarterback get as many votes as a team captain as Nick Foles did prior to this season.
Almost a unanimous selection by the offensive group to be their captain.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Watch live local games with NFL Mobile, only on Verizon.
Rams back on top. They lead the Seahawks 17-13. Nick Foles with a 1-yard touchdown run. Second 80-yard scoring drive for the Rams today. Tyler Lockett back deep for Seattle. Brought a punt back 57 yards for a touchdown in the first quarter. Seahawks will start from their 20. Third quarter in St. Louis as Foles celebrates. Week 1 continues later today on CBS. Then tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tune in tomorrow for a Monday Night Football doubleheader on ESPN. Exciting action around the league today. New England with a win over Pittsburgh on Thursday night. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, trail this game by 4. Start from their 20-yard line off the fake to Marshawn Lynch. Wilson under pressure, hit by Barrett as he throws it away.
It's one of the guys that Greg Williams really kind of saw come on last year. Now second year as defensive coordinator, really kind of understands what Mark Barron brings to the table, wants to get him down in the box, allow him to blitz a little bit, trust his instincts right there. A situation where you've got a mobile quarterback, a guy like Mark Barron can negate that.
Former first-round pick by Tampa Bay. On second down, it's Lynch, and he gains 3.
We saw Seattle jump into that hurry-up, up-tempo style after that turnover on the last series.
By the way, Jermaine Johnson will not return for Greg Williams' defense, diagnosed with a concussion. So Roberson remains in at right corner. Third down and 7. Three receivers to the left. Lynch split out to the right. Empty backfield. Wilson on third down. Under pressure. Sacked for the 4th time today. Second time by Aaron Donald.
Well, you can see why Chris Long calls him the best player on the field. He's so impressed with him as a young guy. He said he was blown away how successful he was last year. Here comes 99 from the left side. Beats Justin Britt right away. Now he's a converted right tackle down inside, still adjusting to the speed and pace of play inside there. Aaron Donald knows it very well.
Ryan punting from his own 8-yard line. Austin backpedals. Takes it at the 26. Here comes Tavon Austin. He's across midfield. Down the sideline. Austin stays in bounds. Takes it all the way for a Rams touchdown. 75 yards, and there is a flag.
That flag is right even with the line of scrimmage almost.
Eagling downfield on the kick, number 58 of the kicking team. That goes McFly. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Tavon Austin with his 3rd career touchdown on a punt return. We saw it from Tyler Lockett back in the first quarter, and Tavon Austin says, "Look what I can do."
They did a great job on the left side. They allowed the right side of the coverage team to come down the field and really focused on that left side. They had a wall set up. They had everything contained. Tavon Austin, watch him work that sideline. That is incredible feat right there. Most people would have stepped on the white. I can't believe how he stayed in bounds on that.
Remember, all scoring plays are reviewed. So Jeff Triplett now tells us that they continue to look at the return by Austin just to make sure.
You absolutely have to. I mean, look at him work that tightrope down that sideline. Right through this area as he's starting to lose his balance, he is able to stay inside. Very impressive.
Jeff Triplett just announced the ruling on the field stands, so it is a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown by Tavon Austin. His second trip to the end zone today. Here is Sirline for the extra point. Rams lead by 11. Exciting special teams plays by both teams today. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Laura Oakman back in St. Louis following the big return for a score by Tavon Austin.
Yeah, could this rivalry get any funner? I mean, we talk about great defenses and all the different things and the elements that are a part of this rivalry already. Now Brian Schneider has Tyler Lockett for his special teams group, which Pete Carroll called maybe the best he's ever had. And obviously John Fossil and Jeff Fisher together, we know how aggressive they are. They've got Tavon Austin, and look at that play. Look at him work that sideline. It's just another dimension that's going to be added to this rivalry that makes it so much fun.
First of Lockett's career after he scored twice in the preseason. Austin with his third career punt return for a touchdown, one shy of the franchise record. And Lockett is waiting back deep for Seattle. Four and a half remaining, third quarter in St. Louis. We were tied at 10 at the half. Seahawks took the lead on a field goal early in this third quarter, but the Rams have come back. Back-to-back touchdowns. First Foles, and then Austin. Will not take it out. The notorious Conor McGregor is back, and he's taking over an all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter.
They call me an instigator.
What the?
A troublemaker. A wild card and a rebel.
Go deal, spark like a...
So don't miss an all-new Ultimate Fighter Wednesdays, only on FS1.
Well, we had an opportunity to talk to Pete Carroll, and he wanted to move beyond competition. Everybody talks about athletes as competitors, but he felt that there was something a little bit deeper. And when you hear him or guys on his staff talk about things, they'll talk about grit. This team is full of it the way that he defines it. They need a bunch of it right now in this situation.
They start from the 20. Marshawn Lynch gains a couple.
Seen a couple odd snaps today from Drew Nowak, his first start as a center. Russell Wilson's doing a nice job of handling those, but it will impact you. You know, you're taking your eyes off, you're kind of disrupting that field, but hands off to Drew Nowak today, going up against a tough defensive line at center. It's been pretty clean for that offense.
Former starting center Max Unger now in New Orleans following the Jimmy Graham deal. On the wide receiver screen, it's Kearse. And Jermaine Kearse is wrestled out of bounds at the 26-yard line, so it will be third down and 3.
We'll see what Greg Williams decides here. This second half, he's gotten a little bit more aggressive with what he's called defensively in these situations. Looks like he's just going with his down 4 here. Here's a guy that's been wreaking havoc all day, Aaron Donald.
2 sacks today for Donald. Wilson's pass broken up by Roberson. Intended for Baldwin, so Marcus Roberson, who's in for the injured Tremaine Johnson, makes the play.
Marcus Roberson comes in, and he plays on the outside. There's number 47 down here, so he doesn't move into the nickel position, and you don't kick LaMarcus Joyner out to the outside. You actually bring Marcus Roberson in and ask him to play corner, working against Doug Baldwin, a wily vet.
All right, let's see if Ryan keeps it away from Tavon Austin here. Low snap.
Oh, he drove that one.
What a kick. Austin tries to field it over the shoulder. Austin trying to break free. And he is down at the 11-yard line. A 73-yard punt by Ryan.
I got tired watching Tavon on that one. Trying to do a la Willie Mays right there over the shoulder. Can't catch it clean. Drives him all the way back inside the 3-yard line. And he's able to pick it up and make something positive of it. But Tavon's got to realize that there's a lot of fast guys coming. Even though he's very fast himself, that coverage unit is coming down. He'd have been better off staying to that left side and pressing it as much as he could instead of reversing field.
So a tremendous punt by Ryan, pinning the Rams deep. St. Louis with an 11-point lead as they start from their 11-yard line.
Jared Cook in the slot right.
He's had a big day. This is Benny Cunningham. Cunningham out to the 19, a gain of 8. What effect do you feel the absence of Cam Chancellor has had on this game, in particular the day that Jared Cook has had?
Well, I think it's a huge impact, and unfortunately there's great points on both sides as they try to negotiate this lockout. I understand John Schneider and his stance that we don't renegotiate contracts with more than 1 year, and you're talking about 3 years on Cam Chancellor, but I understand Cam Chancellor seeing the precedent set by big cap numbers being released before that contract ends, so he just wants a little bit more security. I don't know how they're going to work this one out.
We shall see. On 2nd and 2, it's Tavon Austin who is lined up in the backfield once again, tackled by Michael Bennett. And what a job the Legion of Boom has done over the last couple of seasons. Seahawks winning Super Bowl 48, coming so close in Super Bowl 49. This was 2 seasons ago, week 1. Maxwell replaces Thurman. Byron now in Philadelphia, and it's Bailey starting for Chancellor today, and Cary Williams in at right corner.
Yeah, but to me, you know, when you talk Legion of Boom, you know, there is no Boom without Cam Chancellor. He's the presence back there, and everybody on this team talks about his leadership ability. Not just the guys on defense, everybody on this team, coaching staff included.
Third down and 4, following a pump fake, falls under pressure, and he's forced to throw it away. So the Rams will punt, and the Seahawks will have another chance.
And the pressure right there. So here's Dion Bailey kind of walking down. That's in Cam Chancellor's position as he's coming through trying to make his way through all that. You over pursue, and that's one of the things that he talked about. You know, he's so excited, so, you know, the speed that this team plays with. Sometimes you've got to dial that back a little bit and make sure you're true to your assignment.
First NFL game for Bailey. Lockett moving to his left. Avoids the first tackle attempt. And Lockett takes it out to the 38. First game is a Seattle Seahawk for Jimmy Graham. A 3-time Pro Bowl tight end has been held in check. That was his first catch as a Seahawk. He has only 2 on the day.
Well, I think it's still a feeling out process, and how do we find a way for Jimmy Graham to fit into this offense? Because we all remember what happened when they brought Percy Harvin in and tried to force Percy Harvin into this offense. It didn't work. It kind of threw them out of what their identity was. So Jimmy Graham, I think it's going to be a learning process. You can't expect week 1 for him to come out and just light this up, but he will get better. They will become more comfortable week after week.
Good starting field position for the Seahawks from the 38-yard line. Wilson connecting with Baldwin. There's a flag And now a second flag is thrown.
Holding. Offense, number 16. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's on Lockett's 7th Seattle penalty. And for more on Jimmy Graham, downstairs to Laura.
Well, you guys are talking about how we haven't seen him a lot. We also haven't heard a lot from Jimmy since the trade. I asked him about it upon hearing the news, how he felt. He said, I was in total shock. I just signed a contract. I thought I was Sean's guy. Obviously not. He said he's now thrilled with this team and this opportunity, but isn't ready yet to talk in depth about being traded. He said, it's still too personal and I'm still too shocked. Kenny?
Thanks, Laura. Laura obviously referring to Saints head coach Sean Payton. Graham spent 5 years in New Orleans, and now Wilson is taken down again. It is Robert Quinn.
We've talked about some challenges across this line with some new faces and new places, but this is one area where you think to be settled down. Russell Okung going up against Robert Quinn right there. He pushes him past the pocket. You've got to have that clock when you play St. Louis. Speed that clock up a little bit faster.
The 5th Ram sack today. 2nd for Quinn. Wilson fires, and there's Graham over the middle. Graham out across the 45 to the 47, about a yard shy of the marker as time winds down in this 3rd quarter here in St. Louis. So when we start the 4th, it'll be a 3rd down and 1 for the Seahawks. Couple of touchdowns for the Rams. First Foles and then Austin on a punt return. Rams lead by 11. Big 3rd quarter for the St. Louis Rams. They lead the Seahawks 24-13 as we begin the 4th. 3rd down and 1 for Seattle. Wilson out of the shotgun. The handoff to Lynch, who picks up a first down and more. Marshawn Lynch all the way down to the Rams' 30-yard line. He gains 23 yards.
And I don't know why you had linebackers stepping up into the middle. A lot of these runs come off tackle. Watch, we're going to have kind of linebackers coming into this area on that cross blitz. You just took yourself right out of that play.
It's Lynch again on first down. And he gains 5 more.
And when you get Marshawn Lynch to the 2nd level and he has not had to slow down, he is even more difficult to carry. I mean, that's why you're it's like almost 3 yards after contact, Kenny. It's unheard of. There's nobody close to him in the NFL. We've got LaMarcus Joyner down now. So we talked about when Tremaine Johnson went out, how thin the Rams were at secondary. And Marcus Roberson has stepped in and done a nice job here right now. With LaMarcus Joyner out, now you're going to ask one of your safeties to come out and probably start playing a little bit of corner.
So the Rams medical staff tending to LaMarcus Joyner. We'll be back.
Fox is sponsored by AT&T, mobilizing your world. By Furious 7, one crew, one last ride on Blu-ray and DVD September 15th. And by Modelo Especial. Discover the Especial.
Rams lead the Seahawks by 11. There's LaMarcus Joyner, injured on the last play. Has his helmet back on. Looks like he's ready to go back onto the field. 3 safeties in the game. Mark Barron on the field for the Rams. 2nd down and 5 as Wilson throws. And he found his man for a first down just inside the 20-yard line. So Jimmy Graham makes his 3rd catch, able to move the chains.
Getting into this up-tempo offense, keeping LaMarcus Joyner off the sideline, keeping this personnel group on that's only got 2 corners.
Seahawks held to field goals their last 2 trips inside the 20. It's Lynch out of the backfield, and a nice tackle is made by Roberson.
Let me tell you, this guy is really stepping up. We've seen him in great tight coverage, and that is an open field tackle on one of the most difficult guys in the NFL to bring down one-on-one.
And now LaMarcus Joyner has checked back in as Barron heads to the sidelines. 2nd down and 7. Wilson on second down, throws, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Graham.
Obviously, everybody on the defense is going to know where Jimmy Graham is. Your red zone, you've got alerts. Laurinaitis playing him there, and you've got help coming from the opposite side with Rodney McLeod. Really, Russell Wilson's opportunity on that play was Doug Baldwin, who was actually in the other slot going against LaMarcus Joyner, who's back on the field, but not 100%. Doug Baldwin got over the top of him.
Fans on their feet. 3rd down and 7. Wilson steps up, takes off, needs to get to the 9 for a first down. He does. Ball comes loose at the end of the play. Question is, was he ruled down? Yeah, it looks like he was. He is down. So a new set of downs for Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Graham slot to the right. First and goal from the 7. Wilson throws to the end zone, and it's incomplete. It's off the hands of the tight end, Luke Wilson.
That's an interesting decision right there. I thought Russell Wilson had the clear path to the pylon. Now it looks like Alec Ogletree is out there in that flat. I did not see Alec Ogletree, so good decision by Russell Wilson trying to fit that in. Alec Ogletree had that covered if he was going to try and make it to the pylon.
Now 3 receivers to the right. Jimmy Graham split to the left. Second and goal from the 7. Wilson directing traffic. Drops back into the shotgun and calls timeout.
Timeout, Seattle.
So Wilson will head over for a chat with head coach Pete Carroll. And when you talk about what this Rams defense has been able to do today, Darryl, they have 5 sacks, and they've also held the Seahawks to 3, not 7, the last 2 trips inside the 20.
And that's where we kind of got into that grit conversation about Pete Carroll and what he looks for in his players. And this is a perfect situation right here, the way the Rams have played, where they're at right now from a score standpoint. And we saw it in the Green Bay game last year in the NFC Championship game. How many people thought that the Seattle Seahawks were going to be able to fight their way back and win that game in overtime? And there's a situation right here that you can just never count this team out. They've got so many guys on the roster that kind of fill that definition of grit by Pete Carroll. Resilience, passion for the game. They're never going to give up. Perseverance, he looks for that in the players that he brings into the Seahawks organization. They get into situations like this, and they just truly believe they'll find a way to overcome all the adversity.
11th play of the drive for the Seahawks. Graham, top of your screen, split wide to the left. Wilson looking for him in the end zone, and could not make the connection. Roberson on the coverage. It will be 3rd and goal.
And how about Marcus Roberson? These last few plays, he's matched up against Jimmy Graham. He's tackled Marshawn Lynch in the open field with room to run. Here's a guy that's a backup cornerback by injury to Tremaine Johnson. He's forced on the field, has played a heck of a game.
Undrafted out of the University of Florida prior to last season. 3rd and goal from the 7. Play clock at 3. Wilson to the end zone, and this time Graham makes the catch for the Seahawks. Touchdown.
Well, that's your gamble. If you're going to bring pressure, you're going to have to cover one-on-one. And Chuck Cecil said there'll be times when we'll allow teammate TJ McDonald to go one-on-one with Jimmy Graham. That was the situation right there, and a nice route by Jimmy Graham, and a great throw by Russell Wilson under duress. That pocket is collapsing all around him. Stands up and makes a heck of a throw. Now watch the route by Jimmy Graham. Press it. Inside leverage by TJ McDonald. Easy break to the outside for Jimmy Graham.
And now the Seahawks will go for 2. Try and make it a 3-point game. Line of scrimmage, the 2-yard line. NFL teams 48% last season when going for 2.
It looks like we've got that same scenario. T.J. McDonald one-on-one on the outside.
Low snap, the handoff to Lynch, and he is in for the 2-point conversion. It's a 3-point game. Russell Wilson connecting with Jimmy Graham, his first touchdown as a Seahawk. Russell Wilson and Jimmy Graham hope that was the first of many.
Well, unfortunately for all the Seahawks opponents, I think it will be the first of many. Jimmy Graham is he's a tough matchup week in and week out, and this is just the beginning. This is going to continue to grow and evolve. Them getting comfortable with each other will continue to progress, and in just that situation on the 2-point play, you split Jimmy Graham out, you go one-on-one, and you still got Marshawn Lynch in the backfield.
Isaiah Pete on the return for the Rams. Runs it to his own man at the 19-yard line, Garrett Reynolds. So Nick Foles and the St. Louis offense back onto the field with under 12 minutes remaining in the fourth, leading by 3. The Rams franchise has not had a winning record since the 2003 season. Their last playoff appearance, 2004. They won 6 games a season ago. Chris Long told us on Friday, it's time. The window is open. This should be the year.
We've always been waiting. We've always looked at the Rams as we come into the season and expect big things. The instability at quarterback has always derailed their seasons. It's exciting for Rams fans with what Nick Foles has shown today. Now he's just got to stay healthy and stay on the field.
Foles on first down. Cunningham across midfield and is finally forced out of bounds by Richard Sherman after a 41-yard pickup.
And for all you young running backs out there, when the coach tells you to go north and south, just remember this play. It's a little check screen. He's just going to run straight down the numbers. I mean, that's about as north and south as you can get until he breaks there at the end. Benny Cunningham has had a heck of an afternoon. He's done a really, really nice job with this opportunity to play.
Again, no Trey Mason, no Todd Gurley. Big day for Benny Cunningham.
Tavon Austin motions into the backfield.
A handoff to Austin. Austin takes it down to the 37 as we head to Los Angeles. Kirk Menefee.
Well, who would have thought it would take Indianapolis almost 3 full quarters to score, but score they do. They need it. They're down big in Buffalo. Dante Moncrief from Andrew Luck. It's 24-8 after they get the 2-point conversion. Kenny?
Thanks, Kurt. Great start for Rex Ryan's Bills today.
He's got a lot of talent to put together on that defense for Buffalo.
There does. Second down and 8. From the 37-yard line, it's Cunningham. He spins, stays on his feet, and gains a couple down to the 35. New this season, stream live local Sunday afternoon games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Rams facing a 3rd down and 6 as we approach 10 minutes remaining in St. Louis. Rams with just 1 3rd down conversion today. Foles under pressure, able to get rid of it. And it's Cunningham who picks up the first down. At the last instant, Foles found Cunningham.
You can't coach that. You can't teach that. That's a feel. That's just a football player in that situation. This pocket is absolutely collapsing under the pressure of the Seahawks front. And Nick Foles somehow finds a way to get it to Benny Cunningham.
Now, we talked about Wilson's athleticism. He played minor league baseball. Well, Foles was a terrific baseball player, basketball player, and he also has taken some of those skills from the baseball diamond, from the basketball court onto the football field.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of those plays you're like, no. Oh, great job, Nick.
So the Rams convert New set of downs from the Seahawks 28. Isaiah Pede in the backfield. This is Pede. And Pede losing the football. And it looks like Bruce Irvin has recovered for Seattle.
One of the things that the Seahawks preach, generating turnovers, you've got to have it secure down the field. Earl Thomas knocks it out.
Under 9 minutes to play, fourth quarter here in St. Louis. There's Isaiah Pede, who lost the football on the hit by Earl Thomas. Bruce Irvin recovered. Second St. Louis turnover. Seahawks take over, trailing by 3 from their 25-yard line. Wilson on first down, complete to Doug Baldwin. Baldwin out to the 32-yard line. Janoris Jenkins made the tackle, a gain of 7.
Well, that was nice closing speed by Janoris Jenkins. He kind of got caught up in the wash on that crossing route.
Jimmy Graham with the last Seattle touchdown. He has 5 receptions today. Wilson taken down at the 33 by Aaron Donald. Gain of 1. It will be third down and 2.
He is really, really good. I mean, the more you watch him, 99, he's up the field. He recognizes he's not going to get beyond the pocket, plants his foot in the ground, and starts to retrace in the position to tackle Russell Wilson.
On third and 2, it's Lynch. And he's close. Needed to get to the 35-yard line. And he did pick up the first down. Quieting the crowd. It's been a very vocal crowd. We've heard chants of "Let's go Rams" throughout the afternoon. Of course, you wonder, could this be the last home opener for the St. Louis Rams in this city?
A lot of uncertainty moving forward through this year. Been carried through the entire preseason.
Crowd's been into it today. Rams lead by 3. Wilson with time, can't find anyone. And he crosses out of bounds after picking up a first down.
It's a nice job by this offensive line. You've got a lot of new people in there, and you're going up against one of the best defensive lines in the league. That was good protection there, especially on the inside, that guard, center guard area.
Wilson had a huge day here last season. Again, the first player in NFL history to pass for 300 and rush for 100. And now Wilson finds Graham for a first down. 6th reception. Graham starting to heat up.
And this looks very, very familiar to what we've seen from Seattle late last season. Slow starts, kind of sluggish. All of a sudden they find their rhythm second half, fourth quarter. This team just never counts themselves out of any scenario.
First and 10 from the Rams 44. Under 7 minutes remaining. Wilson to the outside, wide open, Jermaine Kearse. Finally brought down by Roberson at the Rams 23, a 21-yard connection.
We've been talking about Marcus Roberson and how well he's played. He's up at the top. Let's see what happens here. He turns. It's just super soft coverage.
From the Rams 23-yard line. The receiver set. Baldwin slot to the right. Wilson on first down. It's complete at the 20-yard line. Gain of 3. 6th catch of the afternoon for Jermaine Kearse. Fred Jackson in the backfield. Second down and 6. 8th play of the drive. Inside handoff to Jackson. And the longtime Bill Takes it down to the 16-yard line. William Hayes made the tackle.
Well, it's a heck of an addition to the roster in that situation, and it may have been for salary cap reasons or money reasons, but I was very shocked to see the Buffalo Bills release Fred Jackson. I'm from that area. I know how much the fans appreciate his style of play. I think he's an absolutely perfect fit for this Seahawks organization.
Third down and 3. Wilson looking for Curse in the end zone, but he's unable to make the catch inbounds.
Really letting him play on the outside, the hand checking, which I appreciate. It's a one-on-one situation. He's going to give you the outside of the field. Both players really competing out there.
Well, the Seahawks send out the field goal unit. Remember, late first half, and then on their first possession of the third quarter, inside the 20, held to a field goal. And once again, field goal unit comes on. This will be a 35-yard attempt. Haska's kick is good, tying the game at 24. Seattle Seahawks have come back from an 11-point deficit. They trailed 24-13 after 3. They have tied the game. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, and then a field goal following a Rams turnover.
Yeah, big turnover, critical mistake by Isaiah Peed. There he is right there. You know he's something to make up for that.
Peed back deep for the Rams. Under 5 minutes remaining in regulation. Tied at 24. No opportunity for a return. Well, the last 3 meetings between the Seahawks and Rams here in St. Louis, all decided by 6 points or less, and there have been some wild plays.
They really have a lot of trickery over the last 3 seasons, but I mean, do we really expect anything different than to be tied 24-24 here in the fourth quarter? With these two teams, they're always hard fought. They're always close games. Points are always at a premium. And that was our highest scoring game of the set last year, 28-26, with a lot of special teams plays contributing to that victory for Jeff Fisher and his Rams.
Special teams a factor on both sides today. First time since 2011, a game between the Rams and the Cardinals in which each team returned a punt for a touchdown as Foles is hit. Ball comes loose. It is scooped up and taken in for a touchdown by Kerry Williams. Foles' former teammate in Philadelphia, and Foles is shaken up on the play. Seahawks take the lead.
And the biggest thing is Nick Foles was really slow getting up. You can see him shaking that right arm as he's coming to the sideline. So Chris Richard dials up a blitz for Kerry Williams, and it results in a scoop and score coming from the edge right here. Blind side. Nick Foles never feels him. Clearly a fumble.
We asked Nick Foles on Friday about his ex-teammate Williams. He said he has natural instincts. He studies film. He's very smart. It'll be fun to go against him. Not so fun there. So the Seahawks score a defensive touchdown. Williams embraced by Chris Richard. Haska with the extra point. The Seahawks have scored 18 points in under 8 minutes here in the fourth quarter. Well, turnovers have haunted the Rams here in the fourth quarter.
Back-to-back possessions. On the one prior to that, you're approaching the red zone against Seattle, and you have the fumble by Isaiah Peed, which leads to a touchdown or a field goal for the Seattle Seahawks, but also takes points away from you. And then on that last play, right there, you see the hand is not coming forward. Kerry Williams gets there before Nick Foles can start that motion, and it's a fumble, scoop, and score for Kerry Williams. And again, this goes back to it. The thing about grit, it's 24-13. And it's just, this team never feels like the game has gotten beyond their reach. There's never any panic. They are perfectly content. They stick to their game plan. They believe in each other. And here we sit at 31-24.
Amazing. Here's Pete on the return. Another opportunity for the Rams offense with 4.5 to play.
Plenty of time to stick with your normal game plan. You're down by 1 touchdown. There's 4:34 remaining. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't want to allow this Seattle defense to really start teeing off on you. That was a huge play on that last series by Kerry Williams, but you just got to stick to what your game plan normally was. Plenty of time to drive down the field and tie the game.
Rams start from their 16-yard line. First down as Foles hands it off to Cunningham. And then Cunningham gains 9 out to the 25.
They needed something positive there. It's been a tough stretch here for this Rams offense the last couple of possessions. Just start to build it one positive play after another.
Turnovers on back-to-back possessions leading to 10 Seattle points. Seahawks scoring 18 points in 7 minutes, 25 seconds. Here in the fourth. On 2nd and 1 off the fake to Austin. Pass sails away from Stedman Bailey as we check in once again with Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
Well, Kenny, it's one of those Aaron Rodgers kind of days. He's only got 5 incompletions and 3 touchdown passes. That with Randall Cobb made it 24-16. 6 minutes to go in Chicago. Kenny Lewis and Laura.
You almost did it, Kurt. That was close.
That's years of repetition, though. I'm impressed he caught it.
That's right. Packers, by the way, the Seahawks opponent next week in Green Bay. On 3rd down, it's Cunningham, and he picks up a first. Down to 3.5 on the clock. Rams led 24-13 entering the 4th quarter. Seahawks with 2 touchdowns, a field goal, a 2-point conversion to take the 7-point lead. Austin in the backfield. From the 28-yard line on 1st down. Foles complete. Out to the 35. It's a gain of 8 for Jared Cook, his 5th reception.
Everybody just runs on this defense. There's big Brandon Mebane. Now, you know, his job is to kind of occupy blockers and allow Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright to run and make tackles. He's pushing the pocket, and he turns around, chases the ball 7 yards downfield to get a hit on Jared Cook. Everybody on this defense knows the importance of hustling to the ball, because good thing happens when you have a lot of guys around it.
Second down and 2. Cunningham. Bottled up. It's Michael Bennett who's had a big day.
He really has. He was excellent last season. A lot of injuries late in the year in Seattle's defensive front. He logged a lot of snaps last season. Inside, outside, played well, virtually unblockable at times, and has started off this season just how he left off last year.
Clock winding down toward the 2-minute warning. And the Rams do not get the play in prior to 2 minutes.
Timeout. Seattle. Their second. A 30-second timeout.
Well, Jeff Triplett will put time back on the clock. Seahawks call timeout, and they will reset the clock to 2:03.
That would have been a big miscue right there by the Rams not to get themselves an extra play coming into that 2-minute warning.
3 turnovers in the game committed by the St. Louis Rams. All in the second half. First Foles, then Pede. Recovery by Irvin. And then the sack, forced fumble recovery, and the touchdown, Kerry Williams. on what will be the final play prior to the 2-minute warning. It's a big one for the Rams. 3rd down and 3. They must get to the 38-yard line for a first. And they do as Austin makes the catch out at the 42-yard line. Now we hit the 2-minute warning. New set of downs for the Rams, who trail by 7.
Today's game is sponsored by The Martian, October 2nd, only in theaters.
What a game here in St. Louis. Special teams touchdowns, lead changes, turnovers. Rams down by 7. Under 2 minutes remaining. 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line. Foles moving to his left under pressure. And he throws it away. Took a hit as he got rid of the football from Cliff Averill.
He took a little sneak peek over the back shoulder too to see if there was any right there. You see him look back and say, how close is Cliff coming? Good decision by Nick Foles to get rid of that one quick.
Second and 10. A minute 54 to play. Movement prior to the snap.
Old start. Number 76. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's the right guard, Roger Saffold.
Just a couple of mistakes here. I mean, obviously the big ones with the turnovers here the last couple of possessions, but that's big. 2nd and 15 now against this front.
Balls on 2nd down over the middle. Cunningham, the intended receiver, defended on the play, and a good job by K.J. Wright.
Could have pressed it a little bit more to K.J. Wright. Benny Cunningham, as he comes out of the backfield, just press it a little bit more. You'll get some more separation right there, but still should have made the catch. We've seen his sure hands all afternoon today. Not that play.
Now 3rd down and 15. Rams must get to the Seahawks 48. Ball's moving to his right. He throws and the catch is made for a first down by Kenny Britt in Seahawks territory. 22-yard completion.
Nice job by Kenny Britt recognizing Nick Foles is on the move. He stops and breaks back to the outside. That's a heck of a throw by Nick Foles on the move too.
So the Rams convert on 3rd and 15.
We are reviewing the previous play.
Perhaps for the spot of the football.
Looked like a clean catch, but Kenny Britt was down low to the turf. Did his knee go down and make him down?
And of course, all reviews under 2 minutes are booth reviews. The catch by Britt. He goes down. Last play under review. Here comes Jeff Triplett back onto the field.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It is a first down, and the clock will start on my ready for play signal.
All right, let's bring in Mike Pereira. Mike, what did you see on this catch by Britt?
One of my favorite things here is he down by contact. Watch the defender. He's going to swipe and hit the towel after the catch. Hits the towel there. The towel is not part of the body, so the play remains alive. If he were to touch hair, that's part of the body, but the towel, no.
All right, thanks, Mike. Ball's on first down, over the top. And And take it down to the 37-yard line by the tight end, Lance Kendricks. Timeout is taken by the Rams with 64 seconds on the clock.
Their first 30-second timeout.
With the Rams trailing by 7 on the move. It will be 2nd and 5 from the Seahawks 37. Well, from Kurt Sutter, the creator of Sons of Anarchy, comes a new FX original drama. Don't miss the premiere of The Bastard Executioner. Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, only on FX.
Going to be tough to top Sons of Anarchy.
Absolutely.
That was a wild series.
Well, it's been a wild second half. Rams with a couple of touchdowns in the third quarter. Seahawks with 18 consecutive points here in the fourth. Second down and 5. Foles fires to the outside. Austin unable to make the catch inbounds.
I like the design of the play. They've got the trips out to the right side, and you extend Jared Cook left, and you draw a lot of attention down to the bottom, and Nick Foles is working that combination just a little bit too long for Tavon Austin.
Now thinking ahead, this will be a 55-yard field goal for Zerline, which is certainly within his range if the Rams do not gain any yardage on this play. Third down and 5. Foles hits Kendricks, and Kendricks is in for a Rams touchdown.
Well, yeah, Jared Cook split out wide and got one-on-one last time. This time they put Lance Kendricks out. He draws Dion Bailey. One-on-one coverage. Turns to run, and it's just a little stumble. Tough time for the turf monster to come up and grab the shoe.
So Dion Bailey starting for Cam Chancellor, who is holding out. Bailey loses his footing. Foles connecting with Kendricks on a 37-yard pass play. And now the 33-yard extra point attempt by Zerline. It is straight through, and the Rams have tied the game at 31. So with 53 seconds remaining, after the Seahawks scored 18 consecutive points, the Rams able to come back. A big catch by Britt for a first down, then to Foles to Kendricks. Touchdown on third down, and we've seen some wild things today, and it could not be a more exciting game to kick off this 2015 season.
No, and a couple of things right there just in that series. One of the things Jeff Fisher loves about Nick Foles is if he makes a mistake, he bounces right back and makes a big play. He has the sack fumble that results in a scoop and score by Kerry Williams, comes right back out, leads his team down the field, finds that matchup on the outside, Lance Kendrick, Dion Bailey, and I'm not saying this to be critical, but Cam Chancellor, in my opinion, is one of those irreplaceable guys on a team. When you lose your quarterback, you've changed the dynamic of your team. There's a few guys out there that don't play the quarterback spot that are similar to that, and I think Cam Chancellor deserves to be in that class. It's really, you just roll and you turn into running coverage and you stumble and fall. But Cam Chancellor is a guy that is respected throughout the locker room as a leader. I mean, last year he's got a torn MCL with a bone bruise, puts a brace on 2 days before the Super Bowl, goes out and makes 10 tackles. He's the guy that anybody can come to and ask for anything in the locker room to be corrected. He's just one of those guys that has intangibles that you can't replace. You might be able to get close to his production, but you'll never come close to his intangibles.
So with 53 seconds remaining and a tie game, the Seahawks, with one timeout remaining, will start from their 20.
And this offense has been on a roll the last few possessions and seem to be at their best in these type of situations. And they've got Steven Hauschka, who's got a big leg. He showed everybody in the preseason what he's capable of with the game on the line late with a long field goal. So this game is by no means over right now.
Or at least by no means headed to overtime for sure.
Yes.
Crowd is fired up, on their feet in St. Louis. First and 10 from the 20 for the two-time defending NFC champs. On the slant, it is Baldwin. Baldwin spinning out to the 28-yard line, gain of 8. Seahawks with one timeout. Down to 35 seconds. Wilson to the outside. It's Kearse. Jermaine Kearse picks up a first down out to the 35.
Good job by the Ram defenders not allowing him to turn and get upfield and get out of bounds. They drove him backwards out of bounds.
Seahawks used their final timeout. Of course, Wilson's last game-winning drive in the fourth quarter or overtime. The NFC Championship game against the Green Bay Packers. The Seahawks opponents next week at Lambeau, but they're not thinking about the Packers yet.
That's one of the things this team is a one game at a time mentality. One down, one to go, and it'll be that way all season long. They're not looking ahead to anybody but the next upcoming opponent. They will not lose their focus until the previous game is over.
Down to 24 seconds. From the 35-yard line. Off the fake to Lynch. Here comes Aaron Donald. And Wilson able to find Marshawn Lynch. He makes the catch out of bounds at the 37.
He has really shown why he is considered one of the best young guys in the NFL. He has been in the backfield all afternoon. A guy who came off his rookie year, 9 sacks, 17 tackle for losses. He is disruptive in the opponent's backfield.
Seahawks need to gain about 25, 28 yards to get into field goal range, but remember they are out of timeouts. They have only 18 seconds. Empty backfield. Wilson under pressure, and he is sacked for the 6th time today. And limping away following the sack is Eugene Sims.
And that is not good when you see a player that can't even get off under his own power. He just, right away, you're thinking Achilles tendon, and you hope that that's not it, coming from the inside. Little game. Robert Quinn does a good job of occupying Russell Okung to allow Eugene Sims to get around.
Now remember, the clock no longer stops on a sack in the final 2 minutes, so this injury actually benefits the Seahawks. 6 sacks for the Rams. That's 31 sacks in 7 games against Russell Wilson since he entered the league. He's been sacked 31 times by Ram defenders in 7 games.
This is a tremendous defensive front, both sides of the football. We've talked about it, but this is one of the key pieces that it adds the depth. And Seattle talked about last year late in the season when they had lost guys to injury, Jordan Hill, Cassius Marsh, guys, Brandon Mebane, guys that they counted on to have that rotation in their defensive line. And the St. Louis Rams have that same ability. They can go into depth and have quality pass rushers, and Eugene Sims is one of them.
2 sacks for Aaron Donald today. 2 sacks for Robert Quinn. Marcus Joyner has 1, and now Eugene Sims joins the party. There's Quinn. 1 second on the clock. 4th quarter in St. Louis.
Fingers crossed. Your number 1 goal through the preseason is to get your guys through the preseason healthy and get to the opener and you're ready to go. And this is a key piece to this St. Louis Rams defense. So it does not look good at this point right now. Hopefully the Rams get some good news.
So Eugene Sims helped off the field. So with 1 second remaining, Wilson will take a knee, and we are headed for overtime in St. Louis, a game that was tied at 10 at the half. Rams will take an 11-point lead in the third quarter. We were then tied at 24. Seahawks would take the lead. Rams tied it in the final minute. We welcome those of you who have just joined us here in St. Louis. We are headed for overtime, and here is why.
Just your ordinary St. Louis Rams, Seattle Seahawks game. Great defense. And back-to-back touchdowns right there. Scoop and score by Kerry Williams. Dion Bailey filling in for Cam Chancellor. Stumbles in the one-on-one situation. Nick Foles hits Lance Kendricks for the tying touchdown.
Modified sudden death overtime. Both teams will have 2 timeouts. All replays will be upstairs. Each team will have an opportunity to possess the football, except in 2 situations, where there's a safety by one team or a team scores a touchdown. Everybody understand? All right, there's the coin. Heads to tails. What's your call, Seattle? Tails is the call. Tails is the call. It is a head. You want the football. Which goal do you want to fit? Which way you want to kick?
The St. Louis Rams will get the ball first in overtime, tied at 31. We head to overtime in St. Louis. The Rams have won the toss. Both teams will have the opportunity to possess the football unless the initial possession is a touchdown or a safety. Each team 2 timeouts, all replays initiated from upstairs. NFC West rivals. Rams led by 11 early in the fourth quarter. Seahawks scored 18 consecutive points. An onside kick attempt by the Seahawks in overtime. It is recovered by the Rams. We welcome those of you who have just joined us. Kenny Albert, Darrell Johnston, Laura Oatman in St. Louis. An onside kick attempt by the Seattle Seahawks to begin overtime. Rams recover.
Great job by the guys up front, recognizing this and then being aggressive to go get the football. Bradley Marquez, a wide receiver who Jeff Fisher actually talked to us about specifically on Friday, and the reason he was up today was because he's a core special teamer. He's earned the right to be here today and has a heck of a play right there to get the Rams their first opportunity right around midfield.
Bradley Marquez, an undrafted rookie from Texas Tech, tremendous athlete, drafted by the New York Mets 4 years ago. Marquez in his first NFL game, and Jeff Fisher told us he could be a potential Matthew Slater, the perennial Pro Bowler on special teams in New England, son of the former Ram Hall of Famer Jackie Slater.
And that's high praise, and you kind of see with the commitment
The receiver,
here.
the ball was kicked into the ground from the tee. The receiver gave a signal for a fair catch. That is an invalid fair catch signal. We will penalize 5 yards and re-kick.
As one of the things on the front line, you have to realize very rarely will they bloop that unless they push it all the way wide to the other side. Jeff Fisher is in disbelief. So he is right here. You're going to see the hand go up when this is driven into the ground. I tell you, he kind of hits the tee. Do you even know if he drove that into the ground? I don't even know if he drove that into the ground.
It did not look like he did.
I think he kind of stubbed it, and it looks like that tee went forward. I don't think that was one of the ones where he did drive it into the ground. I think Bradley Marquez has the opportunity to make that fair catch signal.
We'll bring in Mike Pereira from Los Angeles. Mike, what did you see?
Correction on the previous play.
Obviously he...
The officials determined that the ball was kicked into the air. Therefore, it is a valid fair catch signal. It will be St. Louis's ball at the spot of the catch.
All right, so Jeff Triplett got together, Mike, with his fellow officials, and they determined that it was kicked directly into the air.
And a very good job by the officials, and because it's not reviewable in replay. So the officials got together and did make the correct determination that it wasn't driven into the ground. Therefore, if it's kicked directly off the tee into the air, you can signal for a fair catch, even though it's a free kick or a short free kick, and you do get protection. So once he basically caught the ball, the play was over at that point, and St. Louis keeps the ball.
Thanks, Mike. So a bizarre start to overtime.
Well, kudos to Jeff Triplett and his crew for getting together and making sure they got that call correct, because that's a huge change.
And they did get it right. So the Rams, with a terrific opportunity as we begin overtime, tied at 31. From the Seahawks, 49-yard line, handoff to Benny Cunningham. And he gains a couple to the 47. Bruce Irvin made the tackle.
Tackled by Irvin at right guard. Gain of 2.
And then just get right back into your game plan. Take advantage of the great field position created by your special teams.
4 lead changes in the game, 3 ties. Rams led by 11 in the fourth quarter. Seahawks scored 18 consecutive points to take the lead. Rams tied it in the final minute. Second down and 8. Foles looking for Stedman Bailey, who makes the catch inside the Seahawks 25-yard line.
Now you just gotta love the courage of Nick Foles in this situation. Stedman Bailey's coming out of the slot. He's working against Richard Sherman, and Earl Thomas is coming over the top for help. He drops it right over the shoulder to Stedman Bailey before Earl Thomas can get there. Stedman takes the big hit and holds on. That is a tremendous throw by Nick Foles.
22-yard completion. On the 25-yard line of Seattle is Cunningham. And he fights his way down to the 20-yard line, gain of 5. Rams without their top 2 running backs today, Todd Gurley and Trey Mason. Benny Cunningham has done a terrific job.
He really has. And not only running the football, very physical, but also in the passing game. He's had some big plays as a receiver out of the backfield.
Down and 6 for Foles and the Rams. Again, it is Cunningham. And he's wrestled down inside the 20-yard line by Cliff Averill.
Yeah, good assignment by Cliff Averill right there. We know about him as a pass rusher, coming off that outside position, but kind of squeezing everything down to the run, making the tackle.
Remember, the Rams win the game if they score a touchdown. If they kick a field goal, Seahawks will have an opportunity. It is 3rd down and 4. Cook shifting. Rams must get to the 15 for a first down. Foles under pressure, and he's forced to throw it out of bounds on the pressure from Frank Clark.
Well, they were looking for Jared Cook. And he's going to motion out. There he is right there. He's going to run down. He's going to run a little hook route. Now you had Stedman Bailey in behind him. He comes wide open at about the 5-yard line. Stedman Bailey in the slot. You'll see him go past that, hook up. Both defenders jump. There he is in that little hole over the top, wide open. But a little bit of pressure doesn't allow Nick Foles to hang in there to find that.
Cliff Averill with the pressure. Here's Greg Zuerlein now to attempt a 37-yard field goal to give the Rams the lead. He does. So the Rams lead by 3 in overtime. Seahawks with a chance when we come back. Pete Carroll, Seahawks trail by 3 in overtime.
And that onside kick does not hurt Seattle with the new rules in overtime that have been around for a couple of years now, that each team gets to possess the ball. You're really just trying to steal that possession, and you do that because you have all the confidence in the world in your defense to go out and make a stop, hold that offense to, at worst, a field goal attempt. So now you've got Tyler Lockett back deep with an opportunity to potentially return this kick. But I like the aggressive play call by Pete Carroll, because all it shows me is he has a ton of confidence in that defense.
Right, as long as you keep the Rams out of the end zone, you know you'll have an opportunity. So here comes Russell Wilson, who has never lost in overtime in his NFL career. He's 28 of 37 today, 217 yards. Lynch, 72 on the ground.
And this offense has been on a roll. I mean, that's another reason for that onside kick here in the fourth quarter. You go out and steal that possession, put your offense back out on the field. They may go right down the field and score a touchdown.
Seahawks scored 18 points in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Graham with 6 receptions and a touchdown in his Seahawks debut. Russell Wilson 4-0 in overtime in the regular season, 1-0 in the postseason. Wilson gets rid of it quickly. It's Marshawn Lynch who breaks 3, picks up a first down, out to the 39-yard line. Gain of 19 for Lynch.
Well, Janoris Jenkins did everything right but make the tackle, and that may be a little bit of 24 out there, but some nice feet, stops on a dime, but just make sure the tackle, keep Marshawn Lynch to a 1-2-yard gain.
A touchdown wins the game, a field goal extends overtime. Wilson had trouble with the snap. Now he throws. And the catch is made at the sideline by the rookie Tyler Lockett out at the 47-yard line, a gain of 8.
And one of the things that won't show up in the box score is handling these snaps from Drew Nowak. And Russell has done it about 4 times here during the course of the game and really made positive things happen off those snaps.
Second down and 2. Wilson hands it off to Lynch. Marshawn Lynch on the push has a Seahawks first down.
It's just amazing, you know, it doesn't look like he's going to get the yardage for the first down, and all of a sudden there goes that surge and he's beyond the markers.
Seahawks shuffling personnel. Fred Jackson replaces Lynch in the backfield. First and 10 from the 49-yard line. We are in overtime. Rams have a 3-point lead. Wilson's pass is caught by Baldwin in St. Louis territory to the Rams' 46-yard line.
I tell you, the Rams secondary, their safeties, they are up and coming. We talk a lot about Earl Thomas, and when Cam Chance was in there, about him, the safeties out in the NFC West, but T.J. McDonald, Rodney McLeod, pretty good combination on the back end for the Rams.
It's Wilson again, connecting with Baldwin. And Baldwin is tackled at the 44-yard line, so it will be third down and 3 for Seattle. Wilson on 3rd and 3. Steps up. And stopped just shy of the marker. Tried to extend. Looks to be about a half-yard shy.
They've done a nice job here. The contain rush up the field. Alec Ogletree coming late, flushes him forward. Good job retracing to get back to make tackles.
4th and inches for the Seahawks to try and stay alive. It is Lynch, and he's stopped. That will do it. Sound familiar? Seahawks cannot pick up a yard.
Well, how ironic is that? The play call that everybody wanted to see last February gets called in a 4th down situation here with the game on the line, and it gets stuffed. I don't like offset shotgun runs in 4th and short. Come up, line up under the center.
Michael Brockers, and then Aaron Donald comes in to finish off Marshawn Lynch, and the Rams win in overtime. Amazing. Comes down to a yard for the Seahawks, and they cannot convert once again.